Imagine you're in the middle of a job interview. Things are going okay. Awkward, sure, but okay. And then, out of nowhere, the interviewer punches you in the face. That's roughly what happened on February 28th, 2026, when the United States and Israel launched a massive surprise attack on Iran, while they were literally in the middle of peace negotiations. This is the story of how the Middle East caught fire again, and why your gas prices are still giving you anxiety. To understand why this happened, we need to go back. Way back. It's 1979. Iran has a revolution. A new Islamic government takes power, and almost immediately, Iranian students storm the US embassy and hold 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. The United States was not thrilled. From that moment, the US and Iran have been in a permanent state of, we're not at war, but we're definitely not okay. Sanctions, proxy conflicts, assassinations, the whole package. Fast forward to the 2000s. Iran starts developing nuclear technology. They say it's for energy. The US says, sure, buddy. And nobody believes anybody. By 2024, Iran and Israel are already exchanging actual missile strikes. In June 2025, they fight what's called the 12-day war, and the US hits Iranian nuclear sites directly. A ceasefire follows. But here's where it gets interesting. January 2026. Inside Iran, massive protests break out, the biggest since the 1979 revolution. The Iranian government responds by massacring thousands of civilians. Trump sees this and says, that's enough. He starts assembling the largest US military buildup in the Middle East since the Iraq War in 2003. Dozens of warships, thousands of troops, stealth bombers, the works. At the same time, US and Iranian diplomats are sitting in a room, drinking tea, and trying to negotiate a nuclear deal. So you have diplomats negotiating peace with one hand, and the military loading bombs with the other. On February 28th, 2026, mid-negotiation, the US and Israel launch what they call Operation Epic Fury. The strikes took out military bases, government buildings, and most dramatically, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei himself. One of the most powerful figures in the Middle East, gone. Iran woke up that morning expecting a phone call about a peace deal. Instead, they got bombed. Iran did not take this quietly. Within hours, hundreds of ballistic missiles and thousands of drones were launched at Israel, at US military bases across the Middle East, at Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE. A drone even hit a British military base in Cyprus. Missiles were intercepted over Turkey. Basically, if you were a country in the region, something was flying over your head. And then Iran did something that sent shockwaves through the entire global economy. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now, why does that matter? Because the Strait of Hormuz is a tiny stretch of water between Iran and Oman, and roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through it every single day. Close it, and oil prices explode. Brent crude shot up toward $100 a barrel. Qatar, one of the world's biggest exporters of liquefied natural gas, saw its entire industry grind to a halt. Farmers in Myanmar couldn't get fertilizer. Airlines rerouted flights. The global economy started sweating. The war that started between two countries was now everyone's problem. Meanwhile, Lebanon exploded. Hezbollah, Iran's ally, started fighting Israel on a second front. And the 2026 Lebanon war killed over 2,000 people. The costs were staggering. By March, the US military had already spent $18 billion and asked Congress for another $200 billion. Iran assessed its own economic damage at somewhere between $300 billion and $1 trillion. Arab countries in the region lost over $120 billion combined. Trump, naturally, declared victory multiple times. The actual situation on the ground suggested the war was ongoing. Censorship went into overdrive. The US, Israel, and Iran all hid their real casualty numbers and military losses. Nobody knew exactly what was happening, which, historically, is never a great sign. So where are we now? Well, a ceasefire was announced, then broken, then announced again, then broken again. At this point, the ceasefire has more lives than a cat. Peace talks are technically happening. Secretary of State Marco Rubio revealed that the entire negotiation is being held up over, and I want you to really sit with this, a word. One word, in one sentence, of one document. Thousands dead. $270 billion in Iranian damage. $18 billion spent by the US military in the first 3 weeks alone. Global oil prices through the roof. And the thing standing between war and peace is a synonym. Iran's new supreme leader is Mujtaba Khamenei, the son of the man the US killed to start this war. Which, if you were writing this as a movie script, your editor would tell you, too on the nose, tone it down. China is trying to mediate. Pakistan is carrying messages between Washington and Tehran like a very stressed intern. The UN condemned the strikes. The UN Security Council condemned Iran's retaliation. Basically, the UN condemned everyone, and nothing happened, as is tradition. So here's where we stand. A war that started during peace talks is now being ended through peace talks. The Strait of Hormuz is partially open. Oil is still expensive. And somewhere in a conference room, 2 diplomats are arguing about a word, while the rest of the world quietly checks its gas bill. History is funny like that, except when you're living in it. If you want to keep up with how this ends, or doesn't, subscribe. New video every week. And drop a comment. What's the word? What one word do you think they're arguing about? Best answer wins absolutely nothing, but the curiosity will keep you up at night.